The moment my 8-year-old daughter, Hazel, stood before her birthday cake, surrounded by 30 guests in our backyard, and announced her wish out loud, I wish Aunt Monica would tell everyone why she really hates Mommy. I knew our carefully constructed family facade was about to crumble. What happened next turned a little girl's princess party into the most devastating afternoon of my life. My name is Bethany, and I'm about to tell you how my daughter's birthday wish exposed a family secret that had been poisoning us for months. I'm a 35-year-old elementary school nurse, married to Trevor for 12 years, mother to 2 beautiful children. I've bandaged more scraped knees than I can count, calmed down hundreds of anxious parents, and always prided myself on fixing problems before they got out of hand. But on that Saturday afternoon in September, standing in my own backyard with purple streamers dancing in the wind and a 3-tiered princess cake melting in the sun, I realized some wounds can't be fixed with band-aids and gentle words. My daughter Hazel had been planning this party since the day after her 7th birthday. She wanted everything purple and pink, unicorns everywhere, and most importantly, she wanted the whole family there. "Everyone has to come, Mommy," she'd told me weeks earlier while we addressed invitations at our kitchen table. "Even Aunt Monica, even if she's been weird lately. Kids notice everything, even when we think we're protecting them. Monica is my sister-in-law, Trevor's older sister, and for the past 3 months, she'd been waging a cold war against me that had split our family down the middle. She's 38, a successful real estate agent who always showed up to family events in perfectly pressed blazers and designer heels, making me feel underdressed even at casual barbecues. But beneath that polished exterior, Monica had been struggling with something none of us wanted to name. Trevor, my husband, is the kind of man who believes every problem can be solved with patience and good intentions. At 36, he manages a small accounting firm and approaches family drama the same way he handles tax season, methodically, carefully, and with the hope that if we just follow the right steps, everything will work out. He'd been trying to navigate between his sister and me for months, and I could see the exhaustion in his eyes every time Monica's name came up. Then there's Dorothy, my mother-in-law, 62 years old, and the undisputed matriarch of the Morrison family. Dorothy had raised Trevor and Monica alone after their father left when they were young, and she carried that protective fierceness into every family gathering. She commanded respect just by walking into a room, and her approval meant everything to both her children, which is why Monica's recent campaign to turn Dorothy against me had been so effective. My son Colton, 10 years old and wise beyond his years, had been watching. The family tension with the careful attention of a child who knows something's wrong but hasn't been told what. He'd started positioning himself between Monica and me at family dinners, like a tiny bodyguard in a Pokemon t-shirt. "Mom, why doesn't Aunt Monica laugh at your jokes anymore?" he'd asked me the week before the party. I'd told him adults sometimes go through complicated times, but even I didn't believe my own explanation. As I stood there that morning, arranging 30 paper plates with unicorn designs and checking the bounce house for the 5th time, I had no idea that within 4 hours my 8-year-old daughter would accomplish what months of careful diplomacy couldn't. She would force us all to stop pretending, stop lying, and stop protecting secrets that were slowly killing our family. The party was supposed to start at noon. By 11:45, my kitchen looked like a cotton candy factory had exploded in it. My mother, Patricia, had arrived early with her famous potato salad and immediately took control of the food situation. "Bethany, sweetheart, you're going to give yourself a heart attack before the first guest arrives," she said, gently moving me away from the oven where I was obsessively checking the pizza rolls. "Let me handle this. You go make sure that bounce house is properly secured. Last thing we need is it flying away with someone's child inside." My mother had been my rock through the Monica situation. She knew the whole story, had held me while I cried after particularly nasty family gatherings where Monica had made subtle digs about my housekeeping, my cooking, my parenting choices. "She's hurting," my mother had said. Hurt people, but that doesn't mean you have to stand there and take it." The doorbell rang at exactly noon, and suddenly our quiet Saturday transformed into controlled chaos. Hazel's best friend Jenna arrived first, carrying a gift bag bigger than she was, followed immediately by 6 more classmates. Parents filed in carrying presents, offering to help, complimenting the decorations. I shifted into hostess mode, the smile coming naturally even as my stomach churned with anxiety about Monica's impending arrival. Trevor handled the bounce house supervision while Colton organized the younger kids into teams for the party games we'd planned. Hazel was in her element, twirling in her purple princess dress, her tiara catching the sunlight as she hugged each arriving guest. For a moment, I let myself believe everything would be fine. Monica would behave for Hazel's sake. Dorothy would keep her in check. We'd get through 3 hours without incident. I should have known better. In families like ours, where secrets grow in silence and resentment builds behind polite smiles, birthday wishes have a way of bringing everything into the light. The morning of Hazel's 8th birthday started perfectly. Pink streamers twisted across our backyard, unicorn balloons bobbed in the breeze, and the 3-tiered princess cake I'd spent 2 days decorating sat like a masterpiece on the dessert table. Each layer was a different shade of purple, with edible glitter that caught the morning light, and tiny fondant unicorns I'd molded by hand after watching 17 YouTube tutorials. As I adjusted the Happy 8th Birthday Hazel banner for the 5th time, making sure it hung perfectly straight between the 2 oak trees, Trevor wrapped his arms around me from behind. "You've outdone yourself, Beth," he said, kissing my cheek. "She's going to remember this forever." I leaned into him, feeling the warmth of his chest against my back, watching through the kitchen window as Hazel practiced her princess twirls in her new purple dress. The dress had cost more than I wanted to spend, but the joy on her face when she'd tried it on at the store made every penny worth it. I just want it to be perfect. She's been talking about this party for months. What I didn't tell Trevor was that I'd specifically planned every detail to avoid any family drama. The seating arrangement I'd sketched out at midnight 2 nights ago placed Monica at the opposite end of the yard from where I'd be stationed at the food table. I'd prepared Dorothy's favorite spinach artichoke dip, the one she always asked for, hoping that good food might soften any harsh words. I'd even rehearsed neutral conversation topics in my head, safe subjects that couldn't possibly lead to conflict. The weather, Hazel's good grades, the new shopping center being built downtown. "Is Monica coming?" I asked, trying to sound casual while straightening a tablecloth that didn't need straightening. Trevor tensed slightly, his arms loosening around me. "She said she would. Mom would kill her if she missed Hazel's birthday." "And she's doing okay?" I pressed, immediately regretting the question when I felt Trevor pull away completely. "Beth, please, not today. Whatever's going on between you two, can we just put it aside for one afternoon?" I turned to face him, seeing the exhaustion written across his features. He'd been sleeping poorly for weeks, tossing and turning as he tried to figure out how to fix something that neither his sister nor his wife would fully explain to him. "I'm trying, Trevor. I really am." "I know," he said, softening. "I just want Hazel to have a good day." The doorbell rang before I could respond, and suddenly our quiet house exploded with excitement. Hazel raced down the stairs, her tiara bouncing precariously on her head, shouting, "They're here! My friends are here!" The next hour was a blur of arriving guests. Hazel's classmates showed up in waves, little girls in party dresses and boys in their best shorts and polo shirts, their parents carrying wrapped presents and offering to help. My mother, Patricia, appeared with not just her famous potato salad, but also 3 grocery bags full of extra supplies. "I know you, Bethany Marie," she said, using my full name the way she did when she meant business. "You'll have calculated exactly enough food for exactly the number of guests. But kids eat when they're nervous, and parents eat when they're bored, so I brought backup." She was right, of course. I'd portioned everything precisely, forgetting that birthday parties had a way of expanding beyond careful plans. My mother immediately took charge of the kitchen, arranging platters and filling punch bowls while humming the same tune she'd hummed at every family gathering since I was young. By noon, our backyard had transformed into exactly what Hazel had dreamed of. 23 children ran between the bounce house and the craft station, where Trevor's cousin Wendy was helping them make unicorn horns out of glitter cones and elastic strings. Parents clustered in small groups, some standing near the shade of our porch, others seated at the picnic tables we'd borrowed from our neighbor. The sound of children's laughter mixed with the playlist of Disney songs Hazel had personally curated. Colton had appointed himself as the games coordinator, his natural leadership showing as he organized the younger kids for Pin the Horn on the Unicorn. "Okay, everyone, no peeking," he called out, his voice carrying across the yard with authority. "Jenna, I can see you lifting the blindfold. That's cheating." I stood at the food table, arranging and rearranging the sandwich platter when Dorothy arrived. She walked through the gate carrying a gift bag that was clearly expensive, the kind from the boutique downtown that wrapped everything in tissue paper that felt like silk. She surveyed the party with the calculating eye of someone who'd raised 2 children and judged every birthday party against her own standards. "The decorations are lovely, Bethany," she said, which from Dorothy was high praise indeed. "Hazel must be thrilled." "She is," I replied, grateful for the approval. "She helped pick everything out." Dorothy nodded, then glanced around again. "Monica's not here yet?" "Not yet," I said, trying to keep my voice neutral, "but it's still early." Dorothy made a sound that could have meant anything, then moved off to greet other family members who'd started arriving. Trevor's Uncle Robert, my brother-in-law Kevin with his wife Stella, and their twin boys, various cousins and family friends who'd known Hazel since she was born. The yard was filling up nicely, the party hitting that perfect rhythm where everything felt effortless, even though I'd planned every minute. That's when Monica arrived. Monica walked through the backyard gate 45 minutes late, carrying a small, unwrapped gift bag and wearing sunglasses despite the overcast sky. Her hair was perfectly styled in those beachy waves that took an hour to create, but were meant to look effortless, and her sundress was the kind of crisp white that seemed to repel stains and wrinkles through sheer force of will. She bypassed me entirely, not even acknowledging my presence. At the food table, heading straight for Dorothy, who was holding court near the drinks table with a group of elderly relatives. "There's my girl," Dorothy called out, embracing Monica warmly. We were starting to worry. "Traffic was terrible," Monica said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You'd think people would have better things to do on a Saturday than clog up the roads." I watched them from across the yard, my stomach tightening as Monica whispered something in Dorothy's ear. Dorothy's expression shifted, her smile faltering for just a moment before she caught herself. Her eyes found me through the crowd, and in that look, I saw confusion and something else that made my chest hurt. Whatever Monica had said, it wasn't good. Trevor appeared at my side, carrying a tray of juice boxes from the kitchen. He followed my gaze and sighed. "Maybe I should go talk to them." "No," I said, forcing a smile as one of Hazel's friend's mothers approached. "Let's just get through the party." Mrs. Freeman, Hazel's second-grade teacher, reached for a sandwich while making small talk about the end of the school year. I nodded and responded appropriately, but my attention kept drifting to Monica, who was now making her rounds through the party like a politician working a crowd. She stopped at each group of parents, laughing a little too loudly, gesturing a little too dramatically, and always positioning herself so I could see her, but she never had to look at me. When my friend Valerie complimented the decorations, saying she wished she had my creative eye, Monica's voice cut through from just a few feet away. "Well, Bethany's always been good at making things look perfect on the surface." She said it with a smile, talking to Trevor's cousin Wendy, but the words were meant for me. Wendy looked uncomfortable, glancing between Monica and me. "The kids seem to be having fun," she offered weakly, trying to redirect the conversation. "Oh yes," Monica continued, adjusting her sunglasses. "Children are so innocent. They don't see what adults try to hide." I focused on refilling the chip bowls, my hands shaking slightly as I poured pretzels into a plastic container shaped like a unicorn. Valerie touched my arm gently. "Are you okay?" "Fine," I managed. "Just want everything to be perfect for Hazel." But Monica wasn't done. She moved through the party like a storm cloud, making pointed comments just loud enough for others to hear. When Dorothy mentioned the family reunion planned for next month at the lake house, Monica laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Oh, I won't be there," she announced to the cluster of relatives around Dorothy. "In fact, I won't be at any family events anymore. Some of us aren't welcome when certain people are hosting." Uncle Robert looked confused. "What are you talking about, Monica? It's at the lake house. We're all welcome there." "Are we?" Monica asked, finally looking in my direction. "Or are some of us being discussed behind closed doors, being accused of things, having our reputations destroyed by people we thought we could trust?" The party atmosphere shifted palpably. Parents began to notice the tension, conversations quieting when Monica passed. Children continued playing, oblivious, but the adults exchanged worried glances. I saw Hazel's friend, Emma's mother, whisper something to her husband, both of them looking uncomfortable. Valerie pulled me aside near the cake table. "Bethany, is everything okay? Monica seems upset." "Family stuff," I said weakly, my standard response becoming less believable each time I used it. "You know how it is." But I didn't know how much longer I could hold it together. Monica was circling me like a shark, each comment getting closer to blood. When she told Mrs. Freeman that some people in this family have no problem lying to everyone's faces, the elderly teacher looked so uncomfortable she excused herself to the bathroom. I was arranging the birthday plates around the cake, trying to stay busy, when I heard Monica talking to Kevin and Stella near the bounce house. "It's just sad when people pretend to care about family but really just want to control everyone, making up stories, spreading rumors, turning mothers against their own daughters." That was it, the final straw. I set down the plates harder than necessary, causing several people to look my way. Monica wanted to do this here? At my daughter's birthday party? In front of all these people? I found Trevor inside, refilling ice in the kitchen. He was moving slowly like he was trying to delay going back outside. "You need to talk to your sister," I said, my voice low but urgent. "She's ruining Hazel's party." "What do you want me to do, Beth? Throw her out?" He slammed the ice tray against the counter, frustration finally showing. "That'll make an even bigger scene." "Then what? We just let her destroy our daughter's birthday?" Trevor turned to face me, and I saw how torn he was. His sister, his wife, his daughter's happiness, all pulling him in different directions. "Maybe if you just talked to her, apologized." Apologized? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. For what? For being concerned about her? For trying to help? "I don't know what happened between you two," Trevor said, his voice tired. "Neither of you will tell me the whole truth, but this has to stop." Before I could respond, we heard Dorothy's voice carrying from the yard, sharp with warning. "Monica, perhaps this isn't the time or place." We rushed outside to find Monica standing in the center of the party, all eyes on her. She'd removed her sunglasses finally, and I could see her eyes were bright with unshed tears, or anger, or both. "When is the time, Mom?" Monica demanded. "When Bethany's not around? Because apparently that's never going to happen again. She's made sure of that." The entire party had stopped. The bounce house stood empty, children gathering near their parents. Hazel stood by the cake table in her purple dress, looking small and confused. The fairy tale birthday was crumbling, and Monica stood in the center of the destruction like she'd been waiting for this moment all along. I stepped forward from the kitchen doorway, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears, but my voice came out steady and calm. "Monica, could we talk inside, please? Privately?" "Oh, now you want to talk?" Monica's voice cracked with emotion. "After 3 months of poisoning everyone against me? After making sure I couldn't show my face at family dinners without feeling like a pariah?" The guests were frozen in place, parents clutching their drinks, children sensing the tension, even if they didn't understand it. I saw Emma's mother cover her daughter's ears. Someone turned off the Disney music playlist, making the silence even more deafening. Hazel stood near the cake table, her purple dress suddenly making her look smaller, more vulnerable, her tiara slightly crooked from all her playing. "Monica," Trevor said firmly, stepping between us. "Not here, not at Hazel's party." But Monica was beyond reasoning. Her carefully styled hair was starting to frizz in the humidity, and her perfect makeup couldn't hide the rage in her eyes. "You know what your wife did, Trevor. She told Mom I was drinking again, told her I showed up drunk to Colton's school play. Complete lies, all of it." My face burned with heat, and I felt every single pair of eyes turn to me. "Monica, you were stumbling. You smelled like wine. You couldn't walk straight. What was I supposed to think?" "I had vertigo," Monica shouted, her voice breaking completely now. "I'd been to the emergency room that morning for severe vertigo. I have the discharge papers in my purse right now. But you didn't ask, did you? You didn't pull me aside and say, 'Hey, Monica, are you feeling okay?' You just assumed the worst and ran to Mom with your concerns." Dorothy stepped between us, her hands raised like a referee. "Girls, please, the children are watching. This is neither the time nor the place." I looked around at the destroyed party atmosphere. Mrs. Freeman was ushering some of the children toward the bounce house, trying to distract them. Several parents were already gathering their things, making excuses about needing to leave early. My mother stood by the food table, her face a mask of concern. Colton had moved protectively closer to his sister, his 10-year-old frame tense with anxiety. That's when I made my decision. I couldn't let Monica's pain, justified or not, ruin the day my daughter had been dreaming about for months. I walked over to Hazel, my heels sinking slightly into the grass, and knelt down beside her. Her big brown eyes were filling with tears she was trying hard not to shed. "Sweetie, how about we do cake now?" I whispered, smoothing down her purple dress. "Would you like that?" Hazel nodded, but her voice was small and worried. "Is Aunt Monica mad at you, Mommy? Did you do something bad?" The question hit me like a physical blow. My 8-year-old daughter was trying to understand why her family was falling apart at her birthday party. "Everything's fine, baby. Sometimes adults have disagreements, but it's nothing for you to worry about. Let's light your candles and make this the special moment you've been waiting for." I stood and announced loudly, channeling every ounce of false cheer I could muster. "Everyone, gather around. It's time for cake." The crowd moved hesitantly toward the dessert table. Some of the parents who'd been heading for the exit stopped, not wanting to seem rude by leaving during the cake cutting. Others guided their children forward, grateful for something normal to focus on. The 3-tiered purple cake stood waiting, innocent and beautiful, unaware of the disaster surrounding it. Trevor fumbled with the lighter, his hands shaking slightly as he lit the 8 candles plus 1 for luck. The tiny flames flickered in the breeze, and I started singing "Happy Birthday," my voice shaky but determined. One by one, others joined in. My mother's strong voice, then Valerie's, then the children, creating a fragile moment of normalcy. But I could see Monica still standing apart from the group, her arms crossed, tears streaming down her face now without any attempt to hide them. Dorothy stood beside her, one hand on her daughter's arm, whispering something urgently. The song continued, feeling both endless and too short, every note a plea for this moment to somehow save the day. "Happy birthday, dear Hazel. Happy birthday to you." The song ended with scattered applause. Hazel stood before her cake, the candlelight reflecting in her eyes, making her look older somehow, like she'd aged years in the past few minutes. I watched her take a deep breath, preparing for the moment she'd been practicing for weeks. "Make a wish, sweetheart," I said, trying to smile. "But remember, keep it secret or it won't come true." Hazel looked at the candles, their small flames dancing. Then she looked at Monica, who was watching from the edge of the crowd, mascara running down her cheeks. Then she looked at me, and in her eyes I saw something I didn't expect. Determination. My little girl, my baby who still slept with a stuffed unicorn, was about to make a choice that would change everything. "Mommy," she said quietly, but in the silence, everyone heard her. "Jenna told me that birthday wishes said out loud in front of everyone are more powerful. She said that's how her grandma from the Philippines does it. Hazel, honey, that's not how we usually—" But Hazel had already turned back to her cake. She stood up straighter, her chin lifted with a courage I didn't know an 8-year-old could possess. The entire party held its breath. Even the birds seemed to stop chirping. The wind stilled, leaving the candle flames standing straight and tall. "I'm going to say my wish." "Out loud," Hazel announced, her voice clear and strong, "because I want it to come true more than anything." I reached for her, wanting to stop whatever was about to happen, but Trevor caught my hand. His grip was firm but gentle, and when I looked at him, he gave the slightest shake of his head. "Let her speak," his eyes said. Hazel took another deep breath, and the words that came out of her mouth would echo in my mind for years to come. Hazel looked at the candles one more time, then spoke in a clear, loud voice that carried across the entire yard. "I wish Aunt Monica would tell everyone why she really hates Mommy." The party went dead silent. Even the breeze seemed to stop, leaving the candle flames perfectly still like they were frozen in time. Monica's face went white, then red, then white again. The candles continued burning, waiting, while 30 guests stood motionless, processing what had just happened. "Hazel," I whispered, mortified, my hand flying to my chest. "Honey, you're supposed to keep wishes secret." But Hazel wasn't finished. She turned to face the crowd, her purple dress swishing around her, her tiara catching the afternoon sun. At my friend Jenna's party, her grandma said birthday wishes made out loud in front of everyone are more powerful. And I want my family to stop fighting. I'm tired of pretending everything is okay when Mommy cries in the bathroom and Daddy sleeps on the couch and Aunt Monica won't come to Sunday dinners anymore. My daughter, my baby girl, had been watching everything. She'd seen through all our careful pretenses, our forced smiles, our attempts to shield her from adult problems, the tears I thought I'd hidden, the arguments Trevor and I had in hushed voices after bedtime, Monica's empty chair at family gatherings. Hazel had absorbed it all. Monica's harsh expression crumbled completely. She looked at this little girl in her purple dress, candles still burning, the entire party waiting for an answer. Dorothy released Monica's arm, stepping back as if understanding that whatever happened next had to come from Monica alone. Then Monica did something that shocked everyone, including me. She walked forward, pushing through the crowd of guests, her white sundress catching on someone's purse. But she didn't stop. She came right up to the cake table and knelt down beside Hazel, bringing herself to eye level with my daughter. Her voice was broken, but clear enough for everyone to hear. "You're right, sweet pea. You deserve the truth on your birthday." She took a shaky breath that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside. "I don't hate your mommy, Hazel. I'm angry because she was right to be worried about me." The crowd seemed to lean in collectively, nobody wanting to miss a word. I saw Valerie's hand cover her mouth. Mrs. Freeman had stopped trying to distract the children and was watching with everyone else. Monica continued, her voice getting stronger. "I have been drinking again. I've been hiding it for months. I started after I lost the Peterson estate sale, my biggest client. 1 glass of wine to relax became 2, then 3. Then I was hiding bottles in my home office, in my car, drinking before family events to get through them." Dorothy gasped audibly, her hand flying to her chest. "Monica, darling, why didn't you tell me?" Monica looked up at her mother, tears flowing freely now. "Because you were so proud of me, Mom, your successful daughter, the real estate agent who had everything together. I couldn't bear to disappoint you." She turned back to Hazel. "When your mommy saw me at Colton's school play, I had been drinking, but I lied about it. I made up a story about vertigo, even got old emergency room papers from when I actually had vertigo last year, and tried to make everyone believe your mom was making things up." "But why?" Hazel asked, her innocent question cutting straight to the heart of everything. Monica touched Hazel's cheek gently. "Because when someone shows you who you really are, sometimes it's easier to hate them than to face the truth. Your mommy told Grandma Dorothy because she loved me enough to try to get me help, even knowing I'd be angry. And instead of admitting I needed help, I spent 3 months trying to punish her for caring about me." Monica stood and faced me directly, for the first time in months. The crowd parted slightly, creating a path between us. "Bethany, I'm sorry. In front of everyone here, I'm sorry. You tried to save me from myself, and I turned the family against you. I told people you were controlling, that you were trying to push me out of the family, that you were jealous of my relationship with Dorothy. All lies to cover up my own shame." I felt my legs shaking, tears streaming down my own face now. "Monica, I never wanted to hurt you. I just saw you struggling and I didn't know what else to do." "I know," Monica said, her voice breaking again. "Deep down, I've always known. That's what made it worse. You did exactly what I would have done if our positions were reversed." Hazel looked between us, then at the candles that were now dripping purple wax onto the white frosting. "The candles are melting," she announced with the urgency only a child could muster at such a moment. "We need to blow them out now, both of you, together." Monica and I looked at each other, really looked at each other for the first time in months. Behind her tears and smudged makeup, I saw my sister-in-law, the woman who had taught Hazel to French braid her hair, who had been at the hospital when Colton was born, who had once been one of my closest friends. "Together?" I asked, extending my hand to her. Monica took it, squeezing tight. "Together." We leaned in on either side of Hazel, who was bouncing with excitement despite the emotional hurricane that had just passed through her party. "Okay, on 3. Hazel commanded. 1, 2, 3. We all blew together, extinguishing every flame in one breath. The yard erupted in applause, not the polite clapping of party guests, but genuine emotional appreciation for what they'd just witnessed. Some people were crying, others were smiling through their tears. Even the children, who didn't fully understand what had happened, seemed to sense that something important had just occurred. Hazel threw her arms around both Monica and me, pulling us into a three-way hug that nearly knocked the cake off the table. "Best birthday wish ever," she declared, her voice muffled by our embrace. "Now can we eat cake? I'm starving." The tension broke with laughter. Real laughter for the first time all afternoon. Trevor appeared with a knife to cut the cake, his eyes red but relieved. Dorothy joined us, wrapping her arms around Monica from behind, whispering something that made Monica cry harder, but also nod with what looked like hope. As I served the first piece to Hazel, she looked up at me with those wise brown eyes and said, "Mommy, sometimes the truth is the best present, isn't it?" I kissed the top of her head, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo. "Yes, baby. Sometimes it really is." The rest of the party took on an almost magical quality. Monica stayed, really stayed, not just physically present, but emotionally engaged. She helped serve cake, getting frosting on her perfect white dress and laughing about it. She played freeze dance with the kids, kicked off her designer heels to jump in the bounce house, and even let Hazel paint a unicorn on her face at the craft station. The woman who had walked in like a storm cloud transformed back into the Aunt Monica my children had always adored. As parents started gathering their children for departure, something unexpected happened. Mrs. Freeman approached Monica and quietly pressed a business card into her hand. "My brother runs a recovery program downtown," she said softly. "It's discreet, effective, and they take insurance, just in case you want to talk to someone." Then Valerie hugged Monica tight and whispered something that made Monica nod gratefully. One by one, people who had witnessed the confrontation offered support instead of judgment. It was as if Hazel's innocent wish had given everyone permission to drop their own masks and respond with genuine compassion. Later, as Trevor and I cleaned up purple streamers and deflated balloons, Monica approached me, holding a garbage bag, helping without being asked. "Can I tell you something?" she said, tying up a full bag. The vertigo story wasn't completely made up. I did go to the emergency room months ago with vertigo, but it was from withdrawal. I'd been trying to quit on my own, going cold turkey, and it wasn't working. When you told Mom about the school play incident, I panicked. I thought if I could discredit you, no one would believe you about my drinking. "Why didn't you just tell me you were trying to quit?" I asked, feeling the weight of all those months of animosity. Because admitting I was trying to quit meant admitting I had a problem in the first place, Monica said. And I wasn't ready for that. It's easier to paint someone else as the villain than to admit you're fighting demons no one else can see. 2 weeks later, Monica checked herself into a treatment program. Dorothy drove her there, with Trevor and me following behind in our car. As we sat in the facility's family meeting room, surrounded by cheerful posters about recovery and hope, Monica looked at each of us with clear eyes. "Hazel saved us all, didn't she?" Monica said, managing a small smile. An 8-year-old had more courage than any of us adults. She saw through all our pretending and just asked for the truth. She was right. Hazel's innocent wish had cut through months of lies, resentment, and pain in a way no confrontation could have achieved. Sometimes it takes a child's pure honesty to remind adults what really matters. We'd been so busy protecting our pride, maintaining appearances, and avoiding difficult conversations that we'd almost destroyed our family in the process. Monica's been sober for 6 months now. She comes to every family event, and she's rebuilding her real estate business with a new sense of purpose. Last week, she pulled me aside at Colton's baseball game while we watched him strike out his 3rd batter in a row. "Remember when I said you were good at making things look perfect on the surface?" she asked, adjusting her sunglasses against the bright field lights. I nodded, the old hurt still tender enough to feel when prodded. "I was wrong," Monica continued. "You don't make things look perfect. You fight to make them actually good, even when it's messy, even when people hate you for it. That's real love, Bethany. That's what family really means. You loved me enough to risk our relationship to save my life. As I write this story, Hazel's 9th birthday is approaching. She's already planning another backyard party, insisting that Aunt Monica help with decorations this time. She has the best ideas, Mom, Hazel told me last night. Plus, she promised to teach me how to do those fancy ribbon bows. When I asked Hazel if she regretted using her birthday wish on our family drama instead of something fun for herself, she looked at me like I'd asked the silliest question in the world. Mommy, I got exactly what I wanted, she said matter-of-factly while brushing her American Girl doll's hair. My family together and nobody pretending anymore. That's better than any toy. Plus, now Aunt Monica and I have a special bond because my wish helped her get better. She was right, of course. The truth, even when it comes from an 8-year-old's birthday wish, has a way of setting everyone free. The party that I thought was ruined became the moment our family started healing. And sometimes, the most broken moments become the ones that save us all. Dorothy now tells everyone that Hazel's 8th birthday party was the best family gathering we ever had. It was the day we stopped being polite relatives, she says, while showing pictures from Hazel's party to anyone who will look, and remembered how to be real family. My granddaughter taught us all a lesson about courage that day. Monica and I text each other every morning now, just a simple check-in that keeps us connected. How are you, really? We ask each other, emphasis on the really, because that's what Hazel taught us that day. Family isn't about perfect parties or careful appearances or protecting people from difficult truths. It's about loving each other enough to be honest, even when the candles are lit and everyone's watching. Trevor and I are stronger too. We learned to stop protecting each other from hard truths and started facing them together. He told me later that watching our 8-year-old daughter show more bravery than either of us had shown in months was both humbling and inspiring. We were so worried about keeping the peace, he said one night as we watched home videos from the party, that we almost lost everything that mattered. The video shows the moment right after the candles were blown out, when the 3 of us were hugging by the cake. You can see other parents wiping their eyes in the background. You can hear children laughing. You can feel the shift from tension to relief, from secrets to truth, from broken to beginning to heal. It's become my favorite video, not despite the drama, but because of how it ended. Last month, Monica received her 6-month sobriety chip. Hazel insisted on coming to the meeting to support her aunt. As Monica stood at the podium sharing her story with the group, she said something that stayed with me. My 8-year-old niece taught me that wishes spoken aloud, even the hard ones, have more power than secrets kept in darkness. She wished for truth at her birthday party, and that truth saved my life. After the meeting, Hazel held Monica's chip up to the light, watching it sparkle. "It's pretty," she said, "like my birthday candles were." "Yeah," Monica agreed, hugging her tight. "And just like your candles, it represents a new beginning." If you've made it this far in our story, you probably have your own family drama, your own secrets that feel too big to speak aloud. Maybe you're the one struggling and hiding it. Maybe you're the one who sees someone you love in pain and doesn't know how to help. Or maybe you're like Hazel, watching the adults in your life dance around truth and wishing someone would just say what everyone's thinking. Here's what I learned from my daughter's 8th birthday party. Love isn't always pretty. Sometimes it's Monica, mascara running down her face, admitting she needs help. Sometimes it's me, calling my mother-in-law even though I knew it would cause a fight. Sometimes it's a little girl in a purple dress, risking her birthday wish to heal her family. But that's the kind of love that actually saves people. The messy, honest, vulnerable kind that says, "I see you struggling and I won't pretend otherwise." Hazel's 9th birthday is next weekend. Monica's been sober for 6 months. Our family is together, really together, not just occupying the same space, but genuinely connected. And it all started with an 8-year-old's courage to wish out loud for what everyone else was too afraid to say. Best birthday party disaster ever. If this story resonated with you, if you've got your own family drama, or if you've seen the power of truth in your own life, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Share this video with someone who might need to hear that it's never too late for truth to heal a family. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more real stories about the messy, beautiful, complicated thing we call family. because sometimes the worst moments lead to the best endings, and sometimes it takes a child to remind us what really matters.